Keep it flowing, boys. Colors showing. More water here.
(1849), men left their families and crossed a continent for rocks. People fought over toilet paper. Every year, thousands camp overnight, outside store sneakers. Different century, different product, same problem. There is never enough. Every problem in economics, every market crash, every price spike, every war over resources, every line you've ever waded in, traces back to one single fact. The world has a limited supply of everything, and humans have an unlimited appetite for more. That collision, that gap between what exists and what we want, has a name: scarcity. And it is the reason economics exists. Let me be specific about what scarcity means. It doesn't mean rare. It doesn't mean expensive. It means there isn't enough. To give everyone what they want, breathable air becomes scarce the moment you're underwater. Time is scarce. You can't get yesterday back. Attention is scarce. You're choosing to watch this right now instead of 1,000 other things. Everything you value exists in limited supply. That's scarcity. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's why this matters more than you probably think. Scarcity isn't a temporary problem waiting to be solved. It's the permanent condition of human existence. More wealth doesn't eliminate it. Better technology can reduce some scarcities, but new desires create new ones. Scarcity doesn't disappear, it shifts. That's not cynicism. That's the pattern of every civilization that has ever existed. Thomas Sowell, economist, author, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford. He's written more than 40 books on economics, history, and society. Thomas Sowell explains scarcity in a very human way, more clearly. The first lesson of economics is scarcity. There is never enough of anything to satisfy all those who want it. Thomas Sowell. Read that again. Not, sometimes there isn't enough. Not, in poor countries there isn't enough. Never enough of anything. That's not a political statement. That's a description of reality. And Sowell added something that makes it even sharper. The first lesson of politics is to disregard the first lesson of economics. Thomas Sowell. Think about what he's saying. Politicians often speak as if scarcity doesn't exist, as if everyone can have everything, as if costs don't matter, as if someone else will pay. But economics doesn't disappear just because a politician ignores it. Scarcity is still there. The cost still gets paid, just by someone who wasn't told it was coming. This isn't about left or right. It's about the structure itself. Every policy, every budget, every promise exists inside. The constraint of scarcity, understanding that, is where economics begins.
No cars.
one tiny chip, the size of your thumbnail, became scarce in 2021, and suddenly, car prices surged. Trucks that used to sit on lots for months were selling above sticker price. Scarcity in one place ripples through everything connected to it. That's how it works. Here's what scarcity actually forces. Every scarcity creates a choice, and every choice has a cost. When there aren't enough hospital beds, someone decides who gets one. When there aren't enough hours in the day, you decide what gets done and what doesn't. When there isn't enough money, you decide what matters most. Scarcity forces prioritization, and the way a society prioritizes, what it puts first, what it sacrifices, tells you everything about what that society actually values, not what it says it values, what it actually chooses. Here's a version. Most Americans live every day. You want a house in your neighborhood, with a good school district, with a short commute, under $400,000. Pick 3, maybe 2. Because all 5 in most American cities doesn't exist at the same price point. That's not a real estate problem. That's scarcity. The land, the location, the school quality. None of it can be duplicated for everyone who wants it. So the price does the rationing. Understanding that doesn't make it fair. It just makes it legible. And here's the version that requires no sympathy at all. Black Friday. Retailers create artificial scarcity, limited quantities, time pressure, deals, to trigger exactly the primal response that scarcity always triggers. Move fast. Get it before someone else does. People have been trampled. People have thrown punches over televisions, over discounted kitchen appliances. The setting changes. The product changes. The behavior doesn't. Scarcity has been triggering the same human instincts for thousands of years. So why does this matter? Why start here? Because everything in economics, every concept in this series, is a response to scarcity. Prices exist because of scarcity. Markets exist because of scarcity. Governments exist, in part, to manage the conflicts that scarcity creates. When you understand scarcity, you understand why prices go up, why wages aren't unlimited, why healthcare has waiting lists, why you can't get everything you want at the price you want, when you want it. Not because someone is stealing from you, because the constraint is real, and everything else flows from that. How do people make choices when they can't have everything? That's opportunity cost. Next episode. The world out there is vast, but your list is longer. It always will be. That gap between what's out there and what's on your list, that's not a failure of ambition. That's not a failure of the economy. That's the starting point of all economics. Scarcity. Now you know where everything begins. Next time, we follow scarcity into its first and most personal consequence. Every choice you make means something else doesn't get made. Every dollar you spend is a vote against everything else you could have bought. Economists have a name for that too. And once you learn it, you'll never make a decision quite the same way again. See you next time.